And welcome to another wonderful Jonesboro Rotary meeting. Glad to have you here today. I know some of you just started eating, but continue, and I promise I will try to catch you with your mouth full to call for whatever, but we're certainly glad to have you here today. And I just wanted to start off, I read a survey recently that really helped me understand, I am married, it helped me understand marriage, and they were asking 10-year-old kids, who do kids want to marry? And Kristen, age 10, said, God decides it all the way before, and you get to find out later who you're stuck with. How can a stranger tell if two people are married? Derek said, you might have to guess based on whether they seem to be yelling at the same kids. What do you think your mom and dad have in common? Lori, age 8, said, both don't want any more kids. What do most people do on a date? Martin said on the first date they tell each other lies, and that usually gets them interested for a second date. And then the one that I like the most, there's two more. Is it better to be single or married? Anita says it's better for girls to be single, but not for boys. Boys need someone to clean up after them. And then, how would the world be different if people didn't get married? Kelvin at age 8 said, there sure would be a lot of kids to explain, wouldn't there? Okay. Thank you. At this time, I'm going to ask David Spivey if he will give our invocation.
Okay. I'm going to do the Rotary prayer, if you'll recite with me. Open our eyes that we may see, open our ears that we may hear, touch our hearts that we may love, clear our minds that we may think, strengthen our hands that we may work. Amen.
Thank you, David. Continue eating, as I said. We're on a little bit of a tight schedule today. Each of y'all are very special as Rotarians, as members of Jonesboro Club, but we do have some very extra special guests here who are fellow Rotarians, and we're glad to have them. They'll be introduced in just a minute, and we'll go from there. But I'm going to ask, let me see, where's Van? Is Van? Oh, you were going to give the report of who's here, and
I'd love to, President Morris. Thank you.
Okay, today we have some very, very special guests. Debbie Scott, you have a very special guest. Could you please introduce your guest to the club, please?
Yes, fellow Rotarians, I have Marcella Macias, I'm so sorry. She is with First Citizens Bank, and she is going to be joining our Rotary Club.
Fantastic. Okay, and let's, David, you have a very special guest that we probably don't need to introduce, but would you like to introduce your guest
Most people
today?
here know my son Chad Spivey, and he is also going to be able to rejoin our club.
Okay, and let's please acknowledge our District Governor-elect Randy Perkins, and our District Governor nominee Tommy Rosser, and of course our District Governor Claudia candidate. Let's give them a big round of applause. On that note, we're skipping announcements and bragging bucks, correct?
that's right. That's right.
And
We'll have some announcements, but bragging bucks, if there's any announcements.
any announcements coming from the club at this time?
I've got several, but go ahead. Gary?
My name is Richard Carlson. I moved to Sanford in 1999 from Anchorage, Alaska. Carol and I were trying to find a warmer climate and came here. I am a local CPA and really didn't want to give up my practice. I happen to love what I do and love working with people. Through some of the people I met, I had heard about the Rotary Club and had thought about joining, but then David Spivey actually put the paperwork in front of me, and I joined Rotary in 2002. I hadn't been involved in the civic clubs in Anchorage because, as others have said, you could only have one from each profession, and one of my partners was already active in Rotary and another one in Kiwanis and Lions. And so I stayed the worker bee and just kept working with that. I joined in 2002 and have been fairly active in the organization. Because of my busy season during tax, I have to miss a number of events and miss things during that period, but they have been very understanding of that. I served as president for 1 year, and with the help of my friends, got through that. I enjoy the meetings, I enjoy the contacts, and I really enjoy the information that we are able to get through the various organizations that we have speakers from, and from the groups that we have speakers from. I think that it provides a great deal of the local culture of what goes on in Sanford, North Carolina. I was involved in the program with the school, and of course the children always loved to talk about Alaska, and so that we could get our thoughts across as to the various words and terminology through that. I participate, as I said, as much as I can, and I would like to invite you to participate also. We have our weekly meetings at the Flame Restaurant at 12 o'clock on Thursdays. So if you get a chance, please join us.
Well spoken, Richard. Thank you for that. Glad to have you back. He's been on a world cruise, a world travel.
I thought you could have slipped in while I was gone.
Good deal. For those of you who were not able to, we had a wonderful event on Tuesday night. Many of us were able to meet at the Camelback Brewery and just have a wonderful social there and time together to talk with each other and get to know something about each other, and certainly enjoyed it. We hope to continue to do more things like this, and looking forward to it. Just want to mention a couple of announcements. The backpack round the table, load the packs up, will be Thursday, August 30th at 9 o'clock. Hope many of you can attend that. I want to mention also that there's a district golf tournament on October 25th at Greensboro Country Club. Myself and Jim Miller have said we will play in it, so we're looking 2 more good golfers to help us that can play in that also. Not really. If you know which end of a club to swing. If you know which end of a club to swing, you know, you're welcome to it.
He knows.
Or whatever. We look forward to it. But having that, let me see. We've got a September the 8th. We've got a fall seminar coming up, Rotary Fall Seminar in Asheboro, and then a membership summit in Greensboro on October the 11th. And that's probably enough for now. At this time, I'm going to ask, I think David's are you going to do the introduction of our new members, and we'll go from there, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Yvonne, you want to come up? So I'd like to have Chad come up and join us.
Mary Smith-Seller.
You go ahead and introduce her first.
This is Maricela, and she is with currently with First Citizens Bank, and she is replacing our former member Jeff Moore, and so we're happy to have her. And if you'll have a moment to explain more about you.
Okay. Well, my name is Maricela Macias. As mentioned, I do work for First Citizens Bank. I've been with them for 10 years, so straight out of high school pretty much. I have 2 little boys, 4 and 2.5-year-old, and yeah, happily married.
And most of you in here know Chad. Chad Spivey, my son. Chad's been a member of the club before, but had to resign when he changed jobs and was working in Pittsburgh on Thursdays, but now his schedule's changed. He's now back in Sanford on Thursdays, so he's decided to rejoin the club. And our district governor, Claudia Kennedy, is going to, I guess, do the installation.
Yes. And I'm going to wing it, but what I'm going to say is, Chad and Mary Sella, you are joining the world's best organization. We do good work, and we are composed of friends who get together, have a good time, and do good work. Our organization is 113 years old. It started as a networking organization for professionals to get together and share business. And as time has gone on, we have become the leader in providing service and making the world a better place everywhere. And our motto is service above self, and we live by the four-way test because we are people of integrity and good character, and we believe in friendship and goodwill. So why don't you raise your right hand and say, do you promise to be a good Rotarian, to live by the four-way test, and have the motto of service above self, and do you promise to wear your Rotary pin? Okay, thank you. Now let me tell you, you're getting a special Rotary pin. This is a Rotary pin that I would imagine none of you has seen. This is an international Rotary International pin. This pin, these two pins have been in many countries, can only be found across the border. You cannot get these in the U.S., and so you'll get your regular Rotary pin, but you're also getting this special international pin. And then here is your regular Rotary pin. And Mary Seller, this is the International Rotary International pin, and then the wheel. And thank you so much for being part of the Rotary family.
All right.
All the Rotary material will catch up to you soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Marcella and Chad. We look forward to working with you and you being a part of our great organization here. And thank all of you as Rotarians for continuing to put our name out there and our message and the importance of service above self and bringing others in. It's the lifeblood of any organization, and you're doing a great job. I thank you. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to David again, and he's going to introduce our very special speaker.
Thank you, President Morris. It's my pleasure to introduce our district governor, Claudia Kennedy. Although Claudia grew up in many places, Chicago, Michigan, Toronto, and Southern California, she considers North Carolina home. She received her Bachelor of Science from High Point University and Master of Arts from the University of North Carolina, Greensboro. In her early career, she was in marketing and sales promotion with consumer products companies, Hanes and Kaiser Roth, and then launched what became a 30-year career in financial services. Retiring as Senior Vice President at Morgan Stanley Wealth Management in 2017, Claudia now continues a post-retirement and rewarding Rotary journey. Claudia has been an active community citizen in Greensboro. She served on several boards of directors of local and regional civic and charitable organizations. She's an avid supporter of the United Way of Greater Greensboro and the Community Foundation of Greater Greensboro. Claudia joined Summit Rotary Club in 1998. She served as Summit Rotary Club President, District Foundation Advocate, and Assistant District Governor. She passionately supports our Rotary Foundation and has participated in various international Rotary activities in Haiti, India, and Ethiopia, to name a few. She believes in giving to make a difference to our Rotary Foundation. She's a major donor, a benefactor, a member of the Bequest Society, Paul Harris Society, and the Arch Clump Society. Claudia is happy to share all things Rotary with her husband, Frank Cheney, an architect, avid golfer, and father to Catherine and Ben. Claudia likes to hike, read, and go to the movies. When not golfing or hiking or traveling, Claudia and Frank are walking their Rotary journey together. So let's all stand and give our District Governor, Claudia Cheney.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. It is a pleasure to be here, and I'm just going to start out by saying, I'm going to put this down here because I am psychic. I have a vision, and that vision is that together we see a world where people unite, take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. And it's not really my vision, that's the vision of Rotary International. It's the new vision statement that was unveiled a few months ago by our Rotary International President, Barry Rassin. So it is great to be here. Thank you very much. And since we are people of action, and as you can see that this year the theme is Be the Inspiration, I asked President Morris to tell, or to identify a person in this club who is an inspiration not only to you, but to the club. And this person has been a longtime member. This person is a past president. This person is involved in many international activities and is really the backbone of this club. Larry Aiken, you are a person of inspiration. It's been 15 years. Yeah. Or maybe 20. We were on a global grants committee together. We were on matching. It was matching grants back then. Yeah. Now
you were the best member.
Yeah, I know. Now I wanted to identify and say it's not my opinion, although it is my opinion, but it is shared widely in the Rotary world that the most important people in Rotary are club presidents. Without a club president to lead the club to better and greater things, this club would not be on the road that it is. So President Morris, you are my inspiration and all the inspiration of Rotary for leading this club. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Well, we are people of action. We get things done. And I wanted to talk a little bit about my Rotary journey, because my Rotary journey has been a little circuitous. I joined in 1998 and didn't do a thing. I was not involved, I was not active, I didn't make any friends, I didn't do anything, I invested nothing, I got nothing in return. After about 3 years, I got what I call the happy letter. I got a happy letter from our club saying, we have attendance requirements. You're not a good Rotarian. You need to shape up, and if you don't, you're out. And I was told that I could submit a letter asking for forgiveness, and they would let me stay. So I did. I wrote this letter. I said, I'm sorry. I'll come to the meetings. But even then, when I wrote the letter and then I started coming to the meetings, I still wasn't involved and I still wasn't doing anything. I wasn't putting anything in and I wasn't getting anything back. But then I was instructed to attend the fall seminar in Clemens. And that was about 2003. And so I went and I learned about the Rotary. I started to learn about the Rotary Foundation. And then I started to get a little more involved in my club, and I became the club's international service chair. And through that position, I was involved in matching grants, and I met a man named Jack Reynolds who was of the Gate City Club, who was doing, in those days it was called a matching grant. Were the big grants in those days called matching grants? Okay, it was a matching grant. And he was the president of a humanitarian organization, it was an orphanage in Haiti. His brother-in-law was a person on the ground. He was a boots-on-the-ground organizer of this orphanage in Haiti. And the purpose of the grant was to provide funding so that they could build more living facilities, dormitory-style lodging for the boys who were in this orphanage. And it was an orphanage just for boys. Because in Haiti, the system is a little different, but I'll get to that in a minute. So I was working on getting our club's support, financial support into this grant to provide housing for the orphans. And at that time, that's when Jack said, well, why don't you come to Haiti and see what the project, see what it's about. So I did, I went there. And that's when I learned for the first time that life around the world is not like it is here. It was, and I went probably, this has been about 15 years, maybe it's 12 years ago. It was a broken place. There's no clean water, there's no adequate sanitation, there's no trash pickup. People live in homes with dirt floors. People are lucky to have 2 meals a day. 3 meals a day is out of the question. It is an entirely broken system. And the reason that there were boys in this orphanage is that the boys in Haiti are disposable. These kids were thrown away. There are many homeless children. Now the girls can be a bit more, compliant. And many of the girls will become what's known as restavek. That means they will become domestic laborers in homes. But the boys don't do that. And so the boys end up just living on the street. And Father Mark, who was the person on the ground there, collected these boys and made this orphanage in Lake High, Haiti. So I saw a real glimpse of what life is like. You know, Haiti is only 500 miles from the shore of Florida, but it's a different world. So I visited, and then I went back 5 years later. And the one thing I noticed was that the boys who should have aged out, who were, late teenagers when I was there, were still at the orphanage 5 years later. And the reason they stayed was that they then became mentors for the younger members who came in, because it was their version of family and connection and being meaningful in somebody else's life. And that is what started my Rotary journey, is learning about the connection that we have with each other, how we can help make somebody else's life better, and just making the world a better place. So I talk about that because it has to do with not only my Rotary journey and my story, but how I've gotten so involved in Rotary, and then so that I can convey the Rotary message. And the number one internal goal, I'll say the number one message, which is an internal goal of Rotary International, is membership. We need members. And many people will say to us, what is Rotary? And many times we'll say Rotary is a service organization. Rotary is the world's largest, best service organization. I submit to you, we are not a service organization. We are a membership organization, and service is our product. Service is what we do. But our members and who we are is what makes Rotary as good as it is. Without members, without good members, we can't do any service. 1.2 million members around the world. We have 35,000 Rotary clubs. We're in over 200 countries. Rotary is in more countries than countries that are represented at the UN. So we have a massive, massive reach. But without growth in membership, if we're not growing, we're stagnating, and stagnation leads to death. We need to grow, and we need to grow so that we can do more good work. Now, I like to say that Rotary is a place where friends get together, have a good time, and do good work. In a nutshell, that's what it is for me. And so we need to find meaning and value in our membership in Rotary, so that we can share it with other people and bring other people into the fold, so that we are friends getting together, having a good time, and doing good work. So let's talk about how we can find engaged, outgoing members of Rotary who really care about it, want the organization to grow. One thing to do that I suggest is the fact that all of you who have been Rotarians for a while find meaning in Rotary because you're here. Why not share this with your friends, your neighbors, your colleagues? Invite your friends, your neighbor, your colleagues to lunch so they can see a group of people who are friends getting together, having a good time and doing good work. It's a simple way to bring new members into your club. Now I'm going to share something that we're doing in the Greensboro clubs. The Gate City Club meets Thursday morning at 7 o'clock at a restaurant. But every Tuesday afternoon, a member of that club sends an email to the club membership. They send it Tuesday afternoon. Last Tuesday, 2 days ago, it said 505 Joymongers. Goes out to everybody knows what it means. What that means is everybody, Gate City Rotary Club, is welcome to go to Joymongers. It's a local brewery in Greensboro. At 5 o'clock for happy hour. Show up if you want to. They've been doing this now for 2 years, so every Wednesday they have somewhere they meet. 2 people might appear, 10 people might appear, 15 people might appear, but they've been doing it every week now for a couple of years. And do you know that they have so much fun at 505 that sometimes they bring their friends? And then the friends join Rotary. And then they've expanded it. About 3 months ago, they started sending the memo or the email to all 8 clubs in Greensboro. So last night, it was at Joymongers. The week before, it was at Lucky 32, and the week before that, it was at Natty Green's. But last night, I went, 505. There were about 8 people there. And you know, they were from 3 different clubs. And there was a prospective member. It was a friend of somebody who came, and that person's going to join Rotary. So now my club and the other clubs in Rotary are going to 505, bringing their friends, and we're getting members into Rotary simply because of a fun social activity that takes no time to plan, doesn't cost anything, and is simple to do. So think about 505 in this area. Now, Rotary International President Barry Rassin has a different idea about building membership. This one requires a bit more work. President Barry wants to double the number of Rotaract clubs this year. Now, he's talking about community-based Rotaract clubs. Now, I know that you all are doing a new one with Chatham Community.
Central Carolina Community.
Central Carolina Community College, 4C, CCCC.
Right.
And that's a college-based Rotaract club, and the Rotaract clubs in our district are college-based, whereby we like to call it junior Rotary, where college students get together and form a club that does not have the type of attendance requirements and financial commitments that the regular Rotary clubs do. But they get together and they do service projects and have social activities, and they structure it the way they would like. President Barry is interested in a community-based, because with community-based, that would be young professionals. Young professionals starting their career, developing roots in the community, and starting their families, so that they can get to, and they might not have a lot of time, they might not have a lot of money, but they would have a vehicle by which they can get together, mingle with the established Rotary Club for networking purposes if they would like it, but at the same time have their own group doing what they want to do on their terms, so that once they become more established and are ready to step up, they will then join the local Rotary Club. President Barry feels that this is the future growth of Rotary. And it would be the next generation of Rotarians, but we really need to be looking to the future to know, let's face it, Rotary is, some of us are aging out. Not everybody here, but some of us are aging out. So we need to be looking at that new supply of the younger generation. So membership, it's all about membership. And let me ask you a question. If we have more dedicated, committed, enthusiastic Rotarians, what happens? We do more good work. That's the answer. Our service opportunities increase, and we're able to do more good things. Now I'm going to talk about doing good work, and I'm going to talk about that in terms of the community, because Rotary is local, and global. Some statistics. In our 15 county, 15 county area of District 7690, we have a problem. First of all, I'm going to say that the income, what is considered income level, no, the poverty rate in terms of income level is $25,300 annual income for a family of 4. For an individual, it's considered $12,000. That's where we consider the line of poverty to be. In our 15 county district, 20% of adults live in poverty. 25% of children, more than 25%, it's actually 27% of our kids live in poverty. That's 31% higher than the national average. 50% of our kids in public school are on free and reduced lunch. 25% of our kids are food insecure, which means they might not have enough to eat on the weekend. When they come to school Monday morning hungry, they're fed at school, but they don't start to learn until Wednesday. We have a problem with food insecurity in our neighborhood. 3 years ago, our area was listed #1 in food insecurity in the country. Okay, so we've made a lot of progress. Now we're #9. But we still have an issue that needs to be addressed by us, and we are addressing it. We are aware of it, and we're taking strides, and we're trying to improve this situation. Now, we all know about RUSH, Rotarians Unite to Stop Hunger. This was a program that originated in our district back 3 years ago. Past District Governor John Spillman initiated the RUSH campaign. So that year we had a number of RUSH activities we did last year, we are this year, and we will in Governor-elect Randy's year, where every single club has some type of RUSH activity, and we leave it up to the clubs to decide the best food type of activity that makes sense for your club and what you're able to do. But this year we're going one step further. Larry, we have a global grant that's been approved that is it's labeled as economic development, but it's really a hunger project, the beneficiary of which will be our district. Normally, when we participate in global grants, we're helping people in other countries. Larry's been extremely involved with water projects in Mexico, and we do lots of good work around the world, but this will be the first time in 10 years a global grant is helping us here. It's a $35,000 project. It is a pilot project. If it works, we're going to roll it out to more areas in the district next year, but this is it. We'll call it a community garden. Out of the Garden, which is a food pantry in High Point, A&T University, Guilford County Public Schools, and Rotary are working together because the city of Greensboro has given some acreage to Out of the Garden. Guilford County students and A&T students, in conjunction with professors at A&T and teachers in Guilford County schools, are going to work with students to grow in a portion of the acreage, in a small portion of the acreage, high-priced herbs. Basil sells for $60 a pound. So we get these high-priced herbs that are growing in a patch of this acreage. The students are taught to grow, harvest, package, sell, market, and distribute these high-priced herbs. That's the economic development part. These kids are taught a trade, an application, and entrepreneurial skills to sell these high-priced herbs to restaurants, retirement homes, hotels, organizations that purchase large quantities of food. The income from that activity will then provide the financing to farm the rest of the acreage that will grow staple produce for consumption of people who live in the food deserts around Greensboro and High Point. In addition, they will be taught to grow their gardens in their own home or apartment or in some acreage or plots that they might have. So while this is being positioned as economic development, it's really a hunger project, except hunger is not one of the 6 areas of focus, so we had to make it economic development, and we did. So that's what we're doing. And if it works, we are going to roll it out in other parts of the district following the success of this, but we'll probably have some tweaks. So those are the types of things that we are doing. And now that leads me to the Rotary Foundation. Because I'm going to ask you, well, this club is 100% sustaining, so I don't have to sing to this choir about the importance of contributing and supporting our Rotary Foundation. But I will, because it's really important. The best, in my opinion, the best charity in a whole wide world is the Rotary Foundation. It helps us at home, it helps us around the world, it's transparent, it's efficient, it has the highest rating by Charity Navigator. 92% of every dollar goes to programs. We have the lowest administration cost because we're doing the work. We don't have to pay people to do it, we do it. So many people think that when they make a contribution to the Rotary Foundation, that money then goes overseas and it helps underdeveloped countries and people who genuinely need it, and that's the case that it does. But it's also important to know that the money that we give, our Rotary Foundation, half of it comes back to our district. And then the district distributes that in the form of support for district grants and for global grants and for peace centers and for polio and the other worthy projects that the district deems necessary. Now, you all have district grants. Our district, which is 49 clubs, this year has 60 district grants. That means that some clubs have more than one project. They have 2 or 3 that are financed by the money that comes back, that we gave the Rotary Foundation, that comes back to us and we're now using. So those 60 projects combined have a total value of over $400,000. 60 projects that we are undertaking here in the 15 counties of Central North Carolina that is our district. So just know that the money we give the foundation it does go globally, but it also comes back locally, and that's how we can do our good work. So speaking further about the Rotary Foundation and what we do, I think you all know that the number one immediate goal that needs to be addressed is polio. Now, you've probably all heard of NIDs, National Immunization Day, and that's where Rotarians from around the world converge, typically in India, but other countries as well, but in India. I've been on 2 NIDs, one in 2014, one in 2017. Randy went in 2015, and that's where Rotarians from around the world come, they congregate in India, and we will do an NID where 1 million volunteers will vaccinate 100 million children in one day. It's a massive effort. Happens many times a year, and it's been going on for many years. And then the next day, we'll go from house to house and we'll check the hands of children to see if their pinky has been marked with a purple marker. If it has not been marked, that means they were not vaccinated the day before. They get the 2 drops of the oral vaccine, and we go on to the next house. That's called a mop-up, and that takes about a half a day. So between the NID that is 1 day and the mop-up, which is a half day, that's a day and a half, but we're there for 10 days. So what do? We visit Rotary projects, we visit with Rotarians, and we go to Rotary Club meetings. I've been to, 7, 8, 10 Rotary meetings in a variety of cities in India. That's a great experience. I consider that a makeup. So we were at a project in Dhanbad, India, which is a school for special needs children. And there were probably 100 kids aging in range from 1 year to 18 years. And there were probably 20 or 30 Rotarians. And we were all having a good time. Everything was very active and lively and lots of presentations. And I noticed that there was a young lady standing off in the corner, standing against the wall by herself, not making eye contact or engaging in any way. So I went over to her and I stood, stood next to her, and I wasn't able to engage her in any type of, conversation. A lady came up with an art glass case and said, give these glasses to this young lady. Took them out, and I put them on, helped her put them on, and her eyes were still downcast, but she had the glasses on, and slowly she started to look around, and her eyes got so wide and bright, and a smile came on her face. And I realized that she had seen, or actually she saw for the first time. That's the power of Rotary and what we can do to change one life, to change a million lives, to change 100 million lives. And now I'm going to get into polio, because with polio, 35 years ago, one Rotarian with one idea said, we can eliminate polio in the Philippines. And we did that. And they said, you know, if we've done it in the Philippines, we can do it everywhere. And so that began the Global Polio Eradication Initiative that is still continuing to this day. But 30 years ago, 350,000 children, mostly children, were afflicted with polio every year. This year we've had 14 cases. This might be the very last case of polio this year that we've seen. But we need to continue the effort, and it will be massive for immunization and surveillance of the polio virus. And it will cost over $1 billion to finish this job. Rotary has committed $50 million last year, 50 this year, and 50 next year. And the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, maybe you've heard of it, has said, if anybody can do it, Rotary can do it. Therefore, any contribution we make to the Polio Plus effort, the Gates Foundation will match 2 to 1. So the $150 million that we're raising is going to be matched with $300 million by the Gates Foundation. That's $450 million just in 3 years. That gets us close to our $1 billion goal to finish the job. Because if anybody can do it, we can do it. Now that takes me to one last thing. In June, Randy and I and Tommy and a number of us were at the International Convention in Toronto. Great speakers, well-known personalities from around the world. But there was one speaker that really got my attention. His name is Jeremy Hurst. He's from District 7020. He's a past district governor. He gave a talk to the group, and he said, we've got an initiative going, and we're going to provide clean water to everybody in Haiti. And we're working with the government of Haiti and some other organizations, and we're going to see that there's clean water for every Haitian by the year 2030, 12 years from now. And I thought, that's really nice. And then he said, if we can do it in Haiti, we can do it everywhere. Do you know that 780 million people don't have access to clean water today? And he said, if anybody can do it, Rotary can do it. How does it feel to belong to an organization that is about to eradicate a disease? And how does it feel to belong to an organization that is able to provide clean water to everybody on the planet? That's who we are as Rotarians, and that's what we can do. It starts with the idea of one person. It grows. All of us figure out what needs to be done, how we attack it, and we make the world a better place. So I am at the end. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for being in Rotary. Thank you for everything you do and for making the world a better place. Thank you.
Bob, would you come forward and make a special presentation? And then I'm going to ask Jeremy if he will let Ms. Kennedy go for the polio fund.
Is the ticket does the ticket person do a card, or how do you do the drawing?
It's just 50.
Oh, I see. So whoever gets a ticket is 50.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Jonesboro Rotary has been very honored to have you with us today, and I just want to be one of our membership to say thank you. We've enjoyed your presentation.
Oh, thank
and please
you.
accept this on our behalf.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
We have $26 to Polio Plus, $26 to the winner.
Okay,
Stand if you please.
all right, I will. Let's get a ticket at the very bottom and read the number. Okay, the last three, 955. 955.
All right.
Yay!
Thank you, sir.
And in light of that, you get to lead us in the four-way test and then the pledge to the flag.
I can do it.
Okay?
There it is.
First, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.